with Antarctic Mike. He trained in a freezer, as you heard in the last segment, for 2 years to run these marathons. Amazing. Okay, tell me, we've got to just give me some tidbits that I can go and apply to my life, and maybe our moms, the viewers, can apply to really achieve their goals.
You know, they say in hindsight, everything's 20/20, and I think looking back after my second trip to Antarctica, I looked back and I said, what did I really learn here that's applicable in the real world, besides the running, okay? Because like as I mentioned earlier, I think my story is a lot more than just running or Antarctica or cold weather. It's about the things I learned. And the most important thing I learned of all the principles probably that came to me during this 2-year time is the fact that my sense of self-confidence is a muscle. And just like you build a bicep or a tricep, there's certain things you have to do intentionally to build the strength of that muscle. So too, I saw that setting this difficult goal and taking these measures to achieve it was my way of really building what I call the muscle of self-confidence. And I realized that self-confidence is actually a muscle in the body that you can intentionally do something with in order to strengthen it.
So was it by virtue of you just going and running, I'm sure you had your schedule,
Right.
that boosted your self-confidence, the action first and then your confidence went up?
Well, it was two things. One is all the training. No doubt, 90% of the value of my entire experience came before I even showed up in Antarctica.
Sure.
It was all the training.
Okay.
The other 10%, you know, finishing the event, while it's only a 10% factor, let's just call it, it's really significant because it's sort of a reinforcement of the fact that all this stuff you went through counted for something.
Sure.
And the fact that you followed through, and finished what you started.
But what about the days that you didn't want to go to the freezer, the days that you wanted to quit, that you looked at and said, this is not going to be achievable, this is crazy, this is too hard, this is too long to train?
Right.
And you're not feeling the benefits of it.
Right. There are clearly days in the schedule that are like that, because I'm human. Everybody has those downtimes. What I do is I just tell myself two things. One is I say, I keep my eye on the prize. I know why I'm doing this. And therefore, this training segment today, just isolating this little piece that I'm struggling with here and now, is such a small effort relative to what I've already put into this and relative to the goal.
Okay, so the reason I'm bringing it up is, as I mentioned to you, we work with mom entrepreneurs nationwide. And I know we're the emotional entrepreneurs. We can be, because we also are pulled in so many different directions. If we have our eye on the prize of building our direct sales business or our own idea into a business, how do we not cave in and just stick with, get through those down days? That's the key. What do you think it is in your mindset?
Picture a bank account, and you're trying to build this retirement account. Okay, a good analogy here is to say, well, you know, what's this $10 here that I'm going to kind of blow today relative to the whole thing? Well, you can look at it in a couple of ways. One is you can say, it's only $10, who cares? Translating it to what you just said, it's one day, I don't want to do the work, I don't want to do the training. Okay, it doesn't really count for much relative to the whole goal. On the other hand, you can say, look at that $10, but if I do that consistently, 7 days a week, it's only $10, but I'm doing it every day, every week, every month, every year. Now it becomes significant because it's the collection of those small little $10 that builds the retirement account.
So no matter what, if she's not wanting to make phone calls, let's say she makes 10 phone calls a day, and then she says, today I'm not going to make any.
Okay.
That is not a good thing.
No.
Blowing the consistency. So consistency is one huge factor to build into self-confidence.
It is the most important. Let's go back to the phone call analogy, because I grew up as a salesperson and my whole career has been in sales. And the phone is important. If you're going to be successful in business, you have to create activity and make things happen. So you're right. It's not so much how much you do today, it's how much can you do consistently. Use the phone call analogy. Let's say a goal is 30 phone calls. I'm just going to use a number.
Okay.
For some people, that might be realistic. The question isn't, can you make 30 phone calls today? The question is that number doable 5 days a week, 4 times a month, 12 months a year?
Okay.
And for some people, it might only be 10 phone calls or 5 phone calls.
Okay, so that's the key. We have to, no matter how we feel, do something consistent every day. And if we want to do more one day, we can. But I think there's something important in there on the flip side. If we lose that consistency, we chip away at our self-confidence.
Right. It goes one way or the other.
Yeah.
It
You're
does.
either building it or you're losing it.
That's absolutely correct.
Well, I mean, it can't be that hard. We can make 1 or 2 phone calls, talk to 1 or 2 people a day, minimum. Keep the bar low to establish consistency.
Right.
And then you'll naturally raise it.
I was just going to say, what you end up doing, Mary, is you end up, it's kind of like weightlifting. Let's say you start with 100 pounds, okay, and the goal is 200 pounds. Okay, I just did it out.
Let's start with the 5-pound weight.
5 pounds and your goal is 10. You're not going to go from 5 to 10. You're going to go from 5 to 6, maybe to 6.5. It doesn't matter, as long as the increments are moving in the right direction.
Right.
That's the key, is the consistency. But what you'll find is you'll find that all of a sudden you get to that 10-pound. Let's use the phone call analogy. Now you're at the next level of calls. You're at 20 phone calls. And then you find you've just reset your own standard, your own bar. You've changed your paradigm. Now 20 calls doesn't seem difficult.
Right. Yeah,
because you've gotten there.
I think people give up on the 5-pounder too soon. So they don't even get that reward of how they feel about themselves and that sense of accomplishment because we quit.
Right.
You know, like I was working out with weights and doing it well for 3 weeks and then I quit. I felt great though.
Right.
You know, I felt good about myself. And I think in business, when we set ourselves to do a goal, like if we join a direct sales company and, okay, I'm going to do this, we're all fired up. We have this big break program. We talk about it 4 weeks. Everybody's fired up the first week. The second week, they're hunkering down, getting some work done. The third week, they hit the wall.
Right.
Their self-confidence, they don't think they can do it.
Right.
Then they start falling down on their own promises, and then the 4th week they quit.
Well, the thing is, the 2 things you really need,
you
need
only have
that
a minute left,
consistency,
so sorry
but you also need that goal. And it should be not just a goal, it should be a pretty challenging goal, one that should almost make you shudder.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it really should be something that is so big that you go, wow, that is huge.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't achieve it, you feel really bad. And if you do achieve it, you're like, yes, right?
True.
Okay, so we only have about 30 seconds left. Any parting words before? But I mean, consistency, self-confidence.
Right. Just, you know, define what it is you want to do and then work it backwards and build your training plan and your daily regiment into realistic, consistent goals you can achieve.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
MikeAntarctic.com. Go check out his website and read his story. It's fascinating. We'll be back on